I just bought one of the rarest cars in the world that you have probably never seen. Let's take a look. Friends, feast your eyes on my 1997 BMW L7. The car beside me is what most call the best BMW Generation 7 Series ever built. I would agree with them, but this is also a generation that has some pretty polarizing moments. In September 1996, the late Tupac Shakur was gunned down. Now don't worry, this is not the car that Tupac was gunned down in, because this is actually a rust spot, okay? It's not a gunshot. Now the final polarizing moment is from a movie that you've probably seen in your lifetime, featuring Pierce Brosnan as James Bond in the movie Tomorrow Never Dies. And that movie was so cool because he had a 7 Series, not like this, but kind of similar, where he was controlling it from his mobile phone. Pretty cool. Now, let me actually give you the rundown of this car. The E38 is the third generation of BMW's 7 Series, which is a flagship executive saloon offering one of the most luxurious experiences that BMW has likely ever created. Built between the years 1994 to 2001, the E38 is set in stone as one of the most beautiful BMWs ever created. And I'm going to share some really interesting notables about this platform. The E38 generation was among the first of European cars to have satellite navigation, a system called CARIN. The CARIN system was developed in 1994 by BMW and Philips, and features one master dial that controls everything. Amongst the many technologically savvy things about this car, this was the first vehicle to have curtain airbags, which BMW actually called the head protection system. So BMW had a couple versions for it. The I, which is the short wheelbase, and then the long wheelbase, which BMW dubbed the IL. Now, this is none of those. This, BMW took the long wheelbase and they added an X, but they formally called it the L7, L implying limousine. So this is really an extended long wheelbase 7 Series E38. And this part right here is that extension. Of the E38 generation for the L7, only 899 were ever produced. All 899 of them were rear-wheel drive, and 265 of them were only built in the year 1997, this being one of them. Now, aside from there being 899 ever created, the real reason why you've probably never heard of this car is because most of you live in North America watching this, and this car was never offered to North American market. It was only offered for the rest of world market, which includes Europe, the Middle East, and Southern Asia. A fun fact about this car is that Karl Lagerfeld, the man behind the Chanel brand in the 1980s, also had an L7, which he designed himself. In a one-off bespoke individual build, this vehicle is currently owned by BMW and can be viewed at the Danubiana Gallery of Contemporary Art located in Bratislava, Slovakia. Now, there is leather upholstery everywhere inside this car. The earlier E38 L7 models featured an open cabin environment, most of which were spec'd with 5 seats, but this L7 is a little bit more special than those because it's a 4-seater. There is an extended center console where there's a TV, there's a VHS cassette player. Some of them even had a phone spec'd in the back. Now this one unfortunately doesn't have that, but I will be getting a phone because how cool is it to have a phone in the back seat? Now, the later E38 L7 models were actually a closed environment. So from those built in the year 2000 and 2001, there was literally a wall with a partition for a true limousine experience. But I kind of like this more. The thing I love most about this car is that it fits so many different clothing vibes depending on the day. Watch this. So if I want to take this car to work, or maybe I want to work in the back seat, kick my feet up and work away, have an Icelandic water, I can do that. But if I want to switch the style up again, watch this. Or if I want to feel like a 90s executive at Death Row Records, this car definitely passes the vibe check. But we're gonna keep it extra casual, so one sec. Back to my casual self. Now, let's talk about the car. So this, my friends, is BMW's first L7 in North America. Now, the owner who bought this car originally imported it from Japan in the year 2012. And he specifically bought this car because of its clean body, its low kilometers, so it actually had 66,000 kilometers when he bought it back in 2012. And he's put an additional 60,000 kilometers on this vehicle. So it has 122,000 kilometers total. And for a 1997 model year, that's pretty low mileage. So a quick side story. How did I get this L7? Well, it was purely by accident, friends. I had no intention to buy this car. And I only even really discovered the L7 because of the detailing video that I had to film for my buddy Vlad's L7 that he imported from Bahrain. Now, looking at the L7, they never came to North America. So this car specifically was imported from Japan in the year 2012 by a gentleman named Craig. And Craig is an interesting individual because he loves having unique vehicles that usually were not common to the North American marketplace. Citroens, Peugeots, an L7. And this L7 came specifically from Japan with 66,000 kilometers on it. So basically brand new. And he drove it for the last 14 years and put another 60-something thousand kilometers on it. But when I first discovered it, it was on a website called E38 Registry. And when I was looking at the L7 and all the facts about it, I actually found this exact car that was documented back, I think in the year 2015, saying that this car was in Canada. Now, where in Canada? It didn't say that it was in Ontario, so it could have been in British Columbia, it could have been in the Northwest Territories. I didn't know. Now, after we finished washing Vlad's car, I wanted to reach out to see the owner of this car, Craig, who I didn't know at the time, tell me where the car is and can we film a video cleaning this car? And so I went on the internet. I stumbled upon an E38 L7 that someone was looking for a coilover. When I clicked the gentleman's profile, I realized that the profile was active on this forum that was kind of an older forum called Bimmer Forums. And the gentleman was last active like 2 weeks ago. So as a car person, I thought, oh my goodness, this is a great opportunity. I was worried that this person was not going to be active for like years. This is a fairly recent post. So I created an account on Bimmer Forums and I replied to that thread. My account was very, very new, of course, but I replied to the thread and I said, hey, my name is Alex. I have a small YouTube channel. I literally just filmed washing a recently imported L7 here to Canada that's owned by my friend. I would love to clean your car too. And he replied back saying, hey, your timing's perfect because I'm actually looking to sell this car. So if you want a new project, it's yours. My heart just was racing because I wasn't expecting that. So I quickly tried to private message this individual and I couldn't. My account was too new and I didn't have enough posts. So in a panic mode, I put my email address like a silly person would on the public internet. And within like 30 minutes, I had some guy named George Guns, which is not a real person, email me to that email that I posted saying, hey, in very broken English, hey, I have this car. If you want photos, I need $100 deposit through Zelle or Zelle. And yeah, I definitely knew, like, in my job, in my corporate job, we get so much cyber training that I can easily spot fraudulent emails. And so I definitely wasn't going to send this guy $100. So eventually, a couple days later, my account was able to private message others. So I reached out to this individual and I said, hey, I'd love to see the car. Whereabouts in Canada are you? He's like, I'm in North Bay, so Northern Ontario. For those of you that don't know, it's basically 4 hours north of Toronto. So by no means within the greater Toronto area. And I said, wow, what a random coincidence, because I do insurance and I actually had to go to Northern Ontario for a work trip for a full week. And so I said, hey, I'm going to be there in like a week. Can I come by and see the car? He's like, yeah, I'd love for you to come by to see the car. So on a Sunday night at like 5:30 p.m., I go, I see the car. So he brings it out of his garage and it looks immaculate. I'm jaw dropped. This is so cool. Pictures don't do the car justice. And I didn't even sit in the driver's seat. Him and I, Craig, we both had a gentleman's conversation in the back seats, kind of like what we're doing right now. And eventually his wife and young daughters come home in a different car. And his wife, Amy, says something like, hey, you must be Alex. Craig said you were coming. It looks like you've been here for a little while. Would you like to join us for dinner? Obviously my parents raised me very well. No, I don't want to impose this and that. She's like, no, we insist. We'd love for you to join us. I ended up spending like 3 hours at their house, having really good conversation, having a nice meal as a family together. And they really wanted me to buy the car. They wanted it to go to a really good home, someone that would take very good care of it and show it a lot more love and create really cool memories that are lasting. So we shook hands on the deal. I had nowhere to put the car back. This would have been back in October of 2025. So I said, Craig, let me get back to you sometime early next year in the spring. I have nowhere to put it, but I still want the car. He said, yeah, Alex, the car's not going anywhere. And he was able to honor that handshake deal, several months later. And now we're here. So the point of this story is that when you're good to people, it sometimes feels like the stars align. And I'm not a superstitious person by any means, but I think when you put good energy out in the world, people want to do business with you. People want to be around you. So very much, I want to give a very special thank you to Craig and his entire family for allowing me to take a car that's meant so much to their family for over 14 years and to create my own memories with the car too. So yeah, really exciting story. And I almost got scammed, which is the crazy part, over $100. But the man upstairs was not going to let that happen. What we're doing here is actually some pretty cool stuff. The car will be restored in as-like new condition. I have the specialists here at BMW Etobicoke, which focus a lot on classic cars. They even have a classic car department, which is pretty cool. So finding those no longer available parts or very rare parts to find, I got the team here to help me out. So shout out to Mia, shout out to Jason, shout out to Caitlin, and the rest of the team here. There's a lot of support. So with that being said, let's take this car over to the hoist. We'll put it up and we'll see what 14 Canadian years and harsh winters has done to this car. Let's take a look at the L7's engine bay.
He said, I couldn't look into the sun.
Featuring the legendary M73 5.4 liter single overhead cam V12 engine, this engine produces at the crank 322 horsepower at 5,000 RPMs and 361 foot-pounds of torque at 3,900 RPMs. A potent engine for sure. Some even say that you can start this car and rest a coin on it vertically and it will be that silky smooth. So I have a coin in my pocket right here and let's put it to the test. That's right. Look at that. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. The car basically barely passed the coin test. I think it was about 5 seconds, but there's a lot of work that needs to happen in this engine to make it extra silky smooth. And then once we're all done tinkering with it, we'll do the coin test again, and it better last a minute, if not longer. The V12 engine is basically 2 straight 6 engines tied together with a 60-degree bank at the crank. 3 cylinders are running on a power stroke at all times, which results in an overall smoother delivery of power. Pretty cool. This engine was so critically acclaimed that in the year 1999, it won the International Best Engine of the Year award in the 4-liter and above category. The L7 sports a shorter final drive ratio of 3.15, which means that RPMs stay low while top speed is extended. Now, speaking of top speed, The L7 is a comfort cruiser that was designed at its time to be an Autobahn missile capable of reaching a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. That's pretty fast. I want to introduce you to someone very, very special to this project, Jason, BMW Etobicoke's shop foreman. Jason, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, hi, I'm Jason, like Alex said. Super excited to have his project on board with the team here. We've started a new classic program where we're starting to put these beauties back on the road.
And your team is very experienced.
Yes.
You yourself, you've got quite a bit of experience working on all kinds of cars.
Yeah, I'm a master technician with BMW. Grew up in the dealership. It's all I live and breathe and eat is BMW. I'm truly addicted to the classics. I have quite a few myself. And
give us one. You just got one recently.
Yeah, I have an E21 with a S52 swap.
Wow.
I have an E30 cab, whatever, the list goes on, and I'm always looking for more.
Yeah, true BMW aficionado. So can you tell us more about this kind of classic car division team that you're building out at BMW Etobicoke?
Yeah, we can do anything from a complete restoration back to showroom condition to just a small oil change, transmission service, suspension, whatever the case may be, we're here to help everybody out.
And I think that's what attracted me the most about bringing this special car here was they have the capabilities to do it at a very high level, but most importantly, Jason and his team is super, super passionate about these kind of cars. Now, Jason, looking at this L7, I need one word, first of all, to describe when you first saw it come in. What was your first word thought?
One word, I'm gonna say true excitement.
Okay.
When your car showed up, everybody was awaiting your car. When that door opened on the trailer, everybody ran out there. It's excitement. It's got to be excitement.
Excitement, cool. And now, with all of your years of experience working on some very unique cars, can you give us a rundown of your best professional expertise and thoughts on this car? How does it look? How does the body look? Am I in trouble?
No, you're good. You're in good hands. The car was better than I thought. It spent some times in the winters. We do have some concerns here.
Oh, geez, yeah, look at that. What is that? Is that?
We have the hydraulic fluid leak here, and that's why you have no power steering.
Okay.
So we're going to take care of that issue along with quite a few other things for you.
Okay.
But we can have a quick look.
A lot of rust I see, actually.
Yeah.
All 4 seasons. I mean, Craig enjoyed the car for a good 14 years and all seasons with his family. And yeah, it looks like the car still was able to take it, but a lot of rust.
But it's really not that bad. The main structure of the car is there. There's no real body rust. A couple little trim pieces rusted, some suspension stuff rusted. A little bit of a fuel leak there. Again, typical Canadian car, brake lines, fuel lines need to be replaced. Other than that, transmission, everything looks pretty clean and dry. A little bit of rust, but if you want that showroom quality, we can replace all your fasteners and components that don't look as pretty as they could.
Yeah, like all the lines, I believe, need to be replaced. So
yeah.
I can't wait for your team to button this all up.
Yeah. No,
as if it just left the factory. That's the goal.
It's going to be exciting. The V12 engine, again, a masterpiece. It has a couple oil leaks. We're going to definitely
I see that right
seal
here.
that up for you.
Yeah.
Other than that, the car is in excellent overall condition.
And Jason, we did the coin test.
Yes.
It only lasted 5 seconds.
But it did it.
But it did it.
I want to make it better.
Well, we want to make it better. So by the time that you're done and your team is done perfecting this as best as we can, what's your money? I'm thinking at least 30 seconds.
We'll get that coin to balance over a minute.
Okay. Hey, we got a deal. We got a deal. You're gonna have to stay tuned for that. No, thank you so much, Jason, for this. This is super, super exciting.
No, we're excited to have your project.
So with that being said, I want to thank all of you for tuning in to this video. Please, if you haven't already, I would invite you to subscribe to my channel so that way you can always stay up to date with the cool things that we're doing. We got detailing videos, we got very cool, unique BMWs, and a lot of really cool content for more videos to come. So drop a like, Comment down below what you think of this car. Is it cool? Is it a bit overrated? I want you to let me know, but I'm just so happy I have this one of 899 time capsule that never came to North America, and again, is truly special when you see it. So, thank you.